Hey everyone, welcome to the 76th edition of the Animated Girls Profile Confidential. And today, since it's the month of Halloween, we're going to talk about a character from a very Halloween, if not very controversial, gory animated series from the 1980s known as Inhumanoids. And the character, if the title and picture don't give it away already, is Sandra Shore. Now, just a quick recap on what Inhumanoids is, because I think I've talked about it here on my channel before. Inhumanoids was originally part of a segment known as Super Sunday, which consisted of 3 or 4 potential animated series that could be greenlit if successful. These series were Bigfoot, Gem, Inhumanoids, and I think another one, and they ran for 11 to 15 minutes every Sunday. Basically, the segments were known as episodic serials that continued one big story. Out of the 3 or 4 series that were part of Super Sunday, Gem and Inhumanoids were the ones that were greenlit. Now, Inhumanoids was, as I mentioned in the beginning, a very Halloween-centric, if not controversial, gory series for the time. Even to the point that even though it was a Hasbro property, and just like Transformers, Gem, and G.I. Joe before it, its intention was to sell toys. The toys themselves were very controversial for the way they were depicted and portrayed, and basically because of that, the toys didn't sell well, and the series along with it being controversial with its violence and gore and all that, suffered as well, and it only went for 13 episodes. Now, the role Sandra Shore plays in this is she's basically part of the protagonist team known as the Earth Corps, who team up with a group of good protagonists in Inhumanoids known as the Mutors that depend on powers of elementalness to fight the evil villainous Inhumanoids that have very gory powers to accompany, their names that they're named by, or the names they are given. Now, the reason Sandra is part of the Earth Corps is in story her brother, known as Blackhorn, is aligned with the villainous Inhumanoids, and he's bribed the government to stop funding the Earth Corps in fighting the Inhumanoids. So Sandra basically says, okay, if my brother's going to bribe and trick the government into defunding the Earth Corps and fighting this battle, this war, then I'm going to step in and bankroll them. I'm going to supply the finances they need. However, she has one condition. She will only do that if she's allowed to be part of the team. In other words, she wants in on the action. Now, that's a good business tactic, if you will, to make sure your money's going in the right area or being spent right or utilized right. But it may have not been the best of ideas or intentions when it comes to certain times within the series. Because you see, in the first, in the movie as it's called, in the pilot movie, she is captured by the villainous Inhumanoid known as Decompose. Now, Decompose is exactly what his name intends, or his power at least is exactly what his name implies. Because anytime he touches someone, he turns them into an undead, monstrous zombie that basically is completely brainwashed into thinking they've always been this way. And anytime they are restored, even in the undead form, they try to fight it before the sun, or the white burn as it's called in the series, returns them to normal. Well, the reason I bring him up is because in the pilot movie, Sandra is touched by Decomposed, and she's turned into an undead shrieking zombie. And in fact, one of the lines she says as she's turning into this undead monster is puny human. So in other words, her brain's already being warped into thinking she's always been an evil Inhumanoid or an evil undead zombie. And there's even a part when they do go to rescue her where, because her brain is so warped into thinking she's this undead servant of Decompose, that she tricks them into thinking she's trying to fight for her freedom or fight for her mental will. And that's enough to basically convince, I think, the love interest for her, that's the leader of the Earth Corps, to see if he can communicate with her or go up to her. And she basically does this to trick him so she can capture him. And then she basically opens up her rib cage, because part of her rib cage is exposed, and puts him inside her body. But he is able to get free, and then later on they are able to not only defeat her, but rescue and restore her. Now I say earlier that her being part of the team is a good business tactic because she likes to see where her money may be going and be utilized, but it may have not been the best idea or her intentions. Because this decomposing of her doesn't just happen this time, it happens a second time, and I think what was it, the fourth or third to last episode, called Primal Passions. Long story short, somebody unleashes some kind of chemical that serves like a love potion to the evil Inhumanoids, and it infects Decompose to the point that he again decomposes Sandra Shore into an undead zombie, a brainwashed, brain-warped undead zombie, where he basically does this to profess her love for him. And once again, they got to go and rescue her and use the sun or the white burn to restore her. Now, I bring all that up because of the fact. Now, like I said, I bring all that up when I say it may have not been the best idea or intentions, because honestly, if I'm her love interest, the leader of the Earth Corps, I take her aside and I say, look, you might be bankrolling us financially and all that, helping us out, but because of the fact that not once but twice you got turned into an undead zombie, I'm asking you, if not ordering you, as your leader, and asking you as your boyfriend, your love interest, to stay behind. That, honestly, if I was her love interest, the leader of the Earth Corps, I would have told her honestly, because of her being turned into an undead zombie twice, from a continuity standpoint, I would have told her, stay behind. We don't need to risk this again. But that doesn't happen. She still goes and being part of the team, but I think they do use a bit of continuity where she's a little bit more careful. Like, I think there are times where if they do see Decompose, they're like, okay, Sandra, you got to get back to the base. We don't need you to turn into an undead zombie again, or something like that. Anyway, though, yeah, she's a very intriguing character, and like I say, from a continuity standpoint, the reason she's an important member, even though twice she gets turned into an undead zombie, is because of the fact that the Blackhorn Shore is her brother, the villainous Black Shore, who aligns himself with the villainous Inhumanoids. He's her brother. He's the one that bribed the government to stop funding the Earth Corps. So basically, it's very personal for her. And I believe it's in the pilot movie where even he feels it's going too far when he sees exactly what happens to his sister, when he sees her get turned into an undead zombie. And I think he feels the same way again when he hears about it or sees it happen a second time, or finds out it happens a second time. So even though even though he's the antagonist and he's basically still on the run at the end of the series, basically he does have feelings for his sister. He's protective at times of Sandra here because he doesn't want no real harm to happen to her. And again, when this happens to her twice, it's like, even he feels that's going a little too far. Anyway, though, like I said, her role, as crazy as it sounds, it's very important in the series because it's a personal situation for her. Because she's basically saying, okay, bro, you want to trick the government into defunding the Earth Corps and fighting this battle. Guess what? I'm going to step in and fund them in your place, or in the government's place. So, yeah, like I said, she has a very important role in the series, and it's a very personal role and everything because, her brother's on the opposing side and everything. But man, but honestly, if I'm her boyfriend, the leader of the Earth Corps, I would basically say, hey, from a continuity standpoint, like I said earlier, I would be like, hey, enough's enough. You know, you're not gonna. You may be part of the team, but you know what? You're gonna be a part of the team that stays at the base and lets us know about information and all that, because we don't need you being decomposed again or something like that. And I'll be honest with you, if a reboot was to ever happen, and a lot of people say Inhumanoids is one of those shows that still needs to be rebooted. If a reboot was to happen of any kind, then there's no doubt in my mind that if they wanted to play off of Sandra being decomposed on several occasions, that they would use continuity to where when the second time it happens, or even with the first time, you could have her, in the reboot, her love interest be like, who could still be the same character and all that, but you could have her love interest be like, enough's enough. You know, you got decomposed. You know, this one time we had to save you. This is why I didn't feel like it was a good idea for you to be part of the team. So guess what? You may be bankrolling this team, but as far as I'm concerned, since I lead it, and you have to take orders from me, as part of the team, I'm ordering you to stay behind. And potentially, from a reboot perspective, that could happen. From a story perspective, in a reboot series of Inhumanoids, that could happen. You know, and if not the first time, like I said, it could happen with continuity-wise the second time. You know, if they wanted to play off of what happened in the original series. That after the second time, from a continuity standpoint, he could say, look, I care about you too much, you know, to see any more harm happen to you. So as your boyfriend, as someone that wants a future with you, I want you to stay behind. And as part of this team, I'm ordering you to stay behind, because we don't need you to get any more harm. And if not, maybe add in the fact that she needs more training before really taking on a group like the Inhumanoids, or being prepared for them. But yeah, overall, you know, she's like I said, very intriguing character, a very integral part of the series. And, you know, like I say, from a continuity perspective, with Blackhorn being her brother and all that, and then aligning himself with the evil Inhumanoids, it really puts her in a position to where, or puts them both in a position to where it's like, if something happens to one, even though they don't like the company they're associated with, they will be concerned. They'll be like, yeah, we need to help him or help her, or, you know, they shouldn't have done this or shouldn't have done what, you know, whatever the case may be. But overall, though, that's all I could say on Sandra Shore here on the 76th edition of the Animated Girls Profile Confidential. Let me know what you guys all think down below. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. And I will talk to you all later. Take care. God bless. Stay safe.